Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in, everyone. Happy Tuesday. We are so excited to have you here with us yet again. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam, Ronis with you for the next couple of hours, breaking down everything again that we saw in week 4, getting you ready for week 5. We've got the Tuesday shows are loaded, Adam. We've got a great show every day, but today we get to talk with Dwayne McFarland, break down the utilization report that's live at fantasylife.com. We get to talk with Paul Charchian. Oh, it's my turn, isn't it? With Paul Charchian. To go first.
You get to go first and mess up.
Well, there were some injuries. I'm curious what we're gonna do with some of those, because last week he took a couple out, or he took one out. I can't remember who it was though. Was it?
Well, it's you this time, so he might just give you the layups.
CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, that's right. Well, Adam, last time we talked with Paul in the break, the people couldn't hear you, but you were asking him a million questions.
No, I
You said,
wasn't.
should I start with this guy? What do you think
No,
about this? So I might do
that's
the
so
same
misleading.
thing. Just kidding. I'll be pure and win, just from knowledge alone.
All right, we'll
How
see.
you doing? Hey, how's it going?
I think like most people, just trying to survive the carnage that has
Yeah.
been dealt to us, and then with the bye weeks beginning this week, you're going to have some uncomfortable players in your lineup this week. So, yeah, another big injury last night, and another deflating performance by the Bengals offense, which has definitely ruined a lot of fantasy teams.
By all of them, though. Both of those games last night were not necessarily fun to watch. Shout out to the Denver Broncos. Did get that win, but yeah, we can start with Miami. That was brutal. I can't believe they replayed that injury on television. But if you were squeamish in any way, you were looking away from that. Tyreek Hill was carted off during this game with a leg injury. That was in the third quarter. And Miami was able to win this one 27-21, but that was absolutely brutal. So I saw Adam Schefter tweeted that his sources told him this morning that he not only dislocated his left knee, but also tore multiple ligaments in his knee, including his ACL. He's going to have surgery later today. And of course, these injuries, they're season ending. We're not going to see Tyreek Hill for the rest of 2025. And even his agent, said that they're still undergoing MRIs, CT scans to determine the extent of the damage. So it was just brutal. And another update to the waiver wire that I had to go to. There were just so many injuries the last couple of weeks. It's just brutal. So you hope for a speedy recovery. But yeah, Tyreek Hill, we will not see again this season.
Yeah, the injuries are definitely piling up, especially at wide receiver. Once again, if you look at some of the receivers taken in the first 2 rounds, they've either been injured or big disappointments.
To say the least. I think so Tyreek Hill again, it is awful. It was awful. Miami though able to get that win. We're going to talk waiver wire article here in a little bit, but that is live at fantasylife.com if anyone wants to go and check that out early. This is going to be a big one, Adam, because you've got not only is it the injuries, but really there are a few players that I'm excited to talk about because I do think they'll be available to a lot of the people listening. But you said it, you've got teams on a bye this week. And so not only are you going to have to navigate, getting through all of these injuries, which I'm sure at this point, each team has probably been hit by one. And if you haven't, you just count your lucky stars there. But week 5, you've got the Falcons, Bears, Packers, Steelers going out. And so you will not see them this week, but there's still hope. Maybe they can pick up a Darren Waller. Did you believe what we were watching last night with Darren Waller? I thought that was I didn't even think that was even possible. But
Yeah,
2 touchdowns, 33 years old, 2 touchdowns. Hasn't
definitely
even played
surprising.
since when? Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
nice catch in back of the end zone. It was not an easy play. And 4 targets, 3 catches, 27 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Jeez.
And yeah, I think people will probably look to him on the waiver wire. I mean, he's at least a red zone threat on this team. And, the absence of Tyreek Hill opens up a lot of targets. And he didn't even play much last night. I think it was like 25% of the
No.
snaps. So, that's going to grow, though. First game of the season, and considering he missed all last year. So, yeah, it was good to see for Darren Waller.
And then I think Malik Washington, right? I know we're going to go through waiver wire names to know, but we talked about him a couple weeks ago, just with the potential that Tyreek Hill was going to be traded. Now, obviously, that is not going to happen because again, he is going to be out for the season. But they need more weapons there, right? So of course, you're going to give a bump to Jalen Waddle. He's going to get a little bit more. This offense isn't necessarily one where people are just running to try and get someone off of it because they just haven't looked very good for the first few weeks of the season. But I think Malik Washington is definitely a guy that, you can look at. He's a deeper stash. So if you're in deep leagues, I think you can look to him. If you're in more of the 10, 12 team leagues, then maybe he's not someone you want to go and get. But I think Malik Washington does have some potential here over the next couple of weeks to get going.
Yeah, for sure. We did see Nick Westbrook-Akine play
hmm
in 2 wide sets, but you would think that it would be Washington that is the more explosive player that gets more touches. So, yeah, he would be the guy to look at for sure for Miami.
This game stunk, by the way. I just switched it over to the Bronx. Did you watch much of this?
I, w-
Were you flipping back and forth?
I was at a sports bar, so I had both
What?
games
Oh, I
on
thought you
the
meant.
screen.
Oh,
What?
I thought you meant you missed both of them. I was like, what?
No.
You give me crap all the time for going to sleep early and you're not even watching? Okay, never mind.
I'm never going to fall asleep early unless I'm sick,
Okay.
really sick. But
Mm,
yeah, no, I watched both. So yeah, look, the Jets just turned it over. I mean, their first
yeah.
drive, they marched right down the field, and then Braylon Allen gets stripped right before the goal line. And you knew right there, okay, the Jets, this could be tough. But Justin Fields, this is the epitome of what we talk about all the time. Because if you had him early in this game, you were like, oh boy, why did I start him? I should have went with someone else. They
hmm
had 3 points at halftime. And then, of course, we've said it with Justin Fields. Sometimes you just don't want to watch. You just check the final stats and you're like, oh, good game. That's why I start Justin Fields in fantasy, because he comes through. And it's exactly what happened in this game. He had that 43-yard touchdown run where it looked like he was going to be tackled in the backfield for a loss, and then reverse field into the end zone for a touchdown, rush for 81 yards. And then passing wise, we always say all you need from him is like 200 passing yards and a touchdown if he's going to do
Yeah.
his thing on the ground. And that's almost what we got, 226 and a touchdown. I did think that was a weak pass interference call
Oh my
on Garrett
gosh, I
Wilson.
know. I ran to Twitter to just see some of the different angles, and I was like, that's crazy. That should not have happened.
Yeah, so Wilson still finished with 6 for 82 and a touchdown. Just it shows how good he is. I mean, with
hmm
all the quarterbacks that he's played with in his career. And one of the things that we talk about with Garrett Wilson is like, okay, cool. We know he's going to lead the team in target share. Now, they're not going to pass a lot. He is clearly the only weapon in the passing game. Although there might have been a second one we'll talk about. And the key was, for me, how many touchdowns is Garrett Wilson going to score this year? His Vegas total going in the year was 4.5. He already has 3. So if he's going to score touchdowns like this, he's going to have a really good fantasy season, because we know he's going to catch 6, 7 passes every week. He should get close to
Yep.
double-digit targets almost every game. And he hasn't had a 100-yard game yet, but he's had at least 82 receiving yards in 3 of the 4 games, scored a touchdown. So right now, considering, too, all the problems that our receivers are having, Garrett Wilson's actually one of the top fantasy receivers right now. He is in points per game in PPR. He is 5th in
Oh
points per
wow.
game. So if you have Garrett Wilson right now, you're pretty happy about it.
And I remember us talking in the offseason because we looked at that season long for his touchdowns and we just thought that was too low. I think even fantasy life, we didn't project him for, crazy double digit touchdowns, but it was still one where we said, this does not seem like the right amount for the price and everything like that. So, you said it, Garrett Wilson had a good day, should have been even better, but whatever, 6 receptions, 82 yards, 1 touchdown. We will talk about someone else that is maybe creeping up and should be on the radar for the waiver wire. But I think the other thing too, when you look at the Jets team, Adam, what's the most troubling thing you see with them, just in NFL terms? Because 0-4, I think they're regressing. I don't think they're getting any better. That's the one thing that I saw in that game. It's just they've struggled for most of these games that we've seen them in. The big plays really aren't necessarily there. They had 13 penalties for 101 yards. Like the discipline isn't there. Awareness. I don't know. It's just crazy to see this team. I thought that they would be doing a little bit better to start the season, but hopefully that they can get their first win coming in. But at least we're getting fantasy points. That's all we care about.
Well, first of all, they don't have a lot of talent to begin with. And yesterday was the turnovers. I mean, you turn it over
Yeah.
3 times and your opponent doesn't. It's difficult to win in the NFL, especially when you're not a good football team. And you mentioned the penalties. 13 penalties as well. So it's a combination of things, but they just don't have a lot of talent. It's Garrett Wilson in the passing game, and what else? So they have a lot of holes on this team right now. They
Do-
did run the ball very well.
Yeah.
They did lose Braylon Allen. Not that he was a big loss, but they were utilizing him. He got off to a good start, 4 carries, 26 yards with that knee injury, leaving the game. So we'll see the extent of that. But, that could open up So a little bit more touches for Isaiah Davis. They seem to want to run a lot and use multiple backs. Uh, but yeah, they just lacking talent right now and then playing undisciplined football.
Yeah, it's not good. But like I said, we are getting fantasy points, so we're going to be okay with it going forward. They play your Dallas Cowboys. Maybe that's a win.
I'm
Jets at
very
home. I don't
interested to
know.
see what Justin Fields' passing prop is going to be against Dallas, as we've seen quarterback shred them. I mean, Russell Wilson had over 400. He doesn't even have a starting job in the NFL
Yeah.
now. So I
This
wonder
is
what they're
the
going to put
week.
Fields' prop at. Because Jordan Love, this past week, I had it at 234.5, and he went over 300.
Yeah.
We know Fields doesn't want to pass a lot, but
This might be the
uh,
one.
yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they put it at.
Do you have the line on that game? Have you seen that move at all? I'm curious what that's because the Jets are at home in this one. They have an interesting schedule going. So they take on the Dallas Cowboys at home. Then they're at home against the Broncos. That's a tough defense. But then they play at home again, going up against the Panthers and then the Bengals. Those are some nice matchups for maybe a first win of the season.
Dallas is favored by 2.5, and the game total's 47.5.
Mm, okay, that'll be a fun one. You'll feel good about that game
I mean, if they, who knows? Like,
potentially.
no, because you saw how bad Dallas was
I
against the
know.
Bears, and that was
I
supposed to
know.
be the shootout. Then they come back against Green Bay and light it up. It was at home, primetime game. Everything was about Micah Parsons, so they showed up for that one. Look, they should have a good day against the Jets defense, but
They should. We'll find out.
I mean, the Jets offense should move the ball against them too.
Yeah, it should be great for fantasy points altogether. So that'll be I'm excited about that. I'm excited about that game. You're not, but I am. So I'll be excited for the
Maybe
both
we'll
of
get another
us.
tie.
Stop. I was thinking about that last night too. That was so uh I don't know. I know you would have rather tied than lost, but that was really annoying to watch that whole game back and forth, and that's how it ended. But we didn't get a tie last night with the Denver Broncos. They actually were able to show up in this game, which was nice. They kind of found their groove on offense a little bit, as they should, though. No offense, Cincinnati Bengals fan, but going up against this Bengals defense, we said, hey, Bo Nix really needs to get it together here. So Denver's defense, man, they limited Cincinnati to just 159 yards of offense, and the Broncos were able to just kind of run away with it. 28-3 win against the Bengals. There's a lot I think to be worried about the Bengals, but we can start at least with Bo Nix, because he did what he should have done, right? This was good for Bo Nix. Was able to score, get some good points up there, and then you saw RJ Harvey getting involved a little bit. J.K. Dobbins reached, I saw the stat that J.K. Dobbins became the first running back to rush for 100 yards since Sean Payton became the head coach in 2023, which is
Yeah,
crazy that
they
it
went
took that long.
37 straight games
That's
without a 100-yard
insane.
rusher.
Well, you got it with Dobbins. So for the Broncos, they did everything they needed to do against this really bad defense.
This was just a beatdown. 80 plays for Denver, 43 for Cincinnati. And the worst part for Cincinnati is they had a really good first drive. And you were
Yeah,
like, okay, he's finally going to get the ball to these receivers. And after that, they did nothing.
that was
They
it.
barely had any plays in Denver territory. Bo Nix, to me, still, I'd be concerned. He came through in this game, but he missed throws. He had RJ Harvey wide open. He made a stupid throw into the end zone. And
Ugh.
I truly believe that Sean Payton came out last night and said, this is the game to get Bo Nix right, because they weren't even running the football at all early on. I was like,
Mhm.
where is J.K. Dobbins? Like, this is ridiculous. So they were trying to get Bo Nix right. And in the end, the stats look good, but I still think there's some things he needs to clean up. In the end, if you use them in the matchup, it worked out. And RJ Harvey was used more, but again, they ran so many plays.
Yeah.
They ran the ball 38 times too. So you like to see Harvey more involved for sure. Dobbins still looks like the better runner between the tackles, especially. He looks good. As you mentioned, the 100-yard game, 6.3 yards per carry. And then Sutton came through. Marvin
Yep.
Mims barely played last week, and then this week 6 for 69 and a 60-yard
Of
rushing
course.
touchdown, which means next week 22% of the snaps.
Ugh.
It's just frustrating with what they do. I mean, Sutton is the one guy we can count on. He had that bad week 2, but the other 3 games he's been good. Troy Franklin led the team in targets. Evan Ingram had 7 targets, just 4 for 29. So yeah, it's a little bit frustrating with the receivers outside of Sutton.
Yeah, it wasn't a clean game from Bo Nix, that's for sure. You and just the team in general have felt a little bit like they just needed to get that groove, but I mean they ended up doing it. We can at least say that to them, and then you can tell that frustration on the other side for the Bengals is just, I mean, it is mounting. You can see Jamar Chase is a little bit frustrated, but how can you not be, Adam? How can you not be frustrated with the product that they're putting on the field right now? You said it. They moved the ball effectively the first drive. And so I said to myself, oh, okay, maybe they're actually going to be okay in this game. No, completely wrong. They gained 57 yards in that first drive, and then they gained only 37 yards the rest of the half. The rest of the half. I mean, it's just so bad. You can tell that again, everyone is going to be frustrated with that team, and their schedule doesn't get easier. There are going to be some games where we say, all right, this is nice, but Lions at home, Packers on the road, Steelers at home, and then they take on the Jets. So maybe we'll be saying nice things about them in 4 weeks.
Yeah, look, we mentioned this when Browning first took over, talked about what he did in 2023 and how it wasn't that bad. But we looked at the schedule to start and we were like, yeah, this is going to be a bumpy road with at Minnesota, and we saw it was brutal. At Denver on a Monday night, brutal. And then the Lions this week, not going to get much better. At Green Bay, who for the most part was good defensively until they faced Dallas, but this Cincinnati team doesn't resemble what the Cowboys offense can do right now. So maybe the Steelers, because yeah, they were better defensively this week, but look at who the quarterbacks they faced. So they're still not the defense we thought coming in. But right now, this Bengals offense is just giving you nothing to feel good about, and it sucks.
Yep.
It's a number one pick strikes again, right? With Jamar Chase. Pretty much everyone took it with the number one pick. I guess I got lucky not to get the one pick this year. And then T. Higgins was going in the third round. It's a tough spot. And Chase Brown was just kept rising up draft boards. If we did drafts today, there'd be so many running backs going ahead of Chase Brown that went after him.
Yeah, it's just there's nothing else we can say. I mean, their offense was non-existent, and it's just one of those things where again, excluding the penalties, the Bengals gained 21 yards on 18 offensive plays on 5 full drives that span from the first and the third quarter. Like, there's not much we can say because it's just so bad. And there's not much you can do, Adam. That's the other thing. I saw people reaching out to us saying, what to do with Jamar Chase. Can I sell him T. Higgins? I mean, if you want to do that, just to have peace of mind, you just have to know that you are not going to get back what you would want, right? You're not going, even if it's the name and people see Jamar Chase, they know that they're just not going to get good production out of him right now, or it looks like it. So you'd be selling with, yeah, just not a glimmer of hope to get anyone back that should resemble a good trade. That's just
Imagine
all I
if
have
I
to
told
say.
you before the year, going into week 5, Jamar Chase would have 50 receiving yards or fewer in 3 or 4 games and 26 and 23 in 2 of those. You would think we're crazy. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is it's brutal. They played 3 of their first 4 on the road, but the offensive line has major issues. Browning has no time. So yeah, it's rough right now. And unfortunately, this happens sometimes in fantasy. And those Bengals stacks right now, I feel bad for those people.
It feels like, does it not feel, and I'm so sorry to say it, does it not feel like 2019 when they kind of had one of the worst records in the NFL? It's not going to be great. I don't think it's going to go that far, but it's not great vibes right now. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, for a 2-2 team, like there's no hope.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. But maybe we can, like I said, 5 weeks, we'll mark it on the calendar, and maybe we'll have really good things to say when they go up against the Steelers. And maybe they'll surprise us. But that's just me being positive. You want to say anything positive about them? No, you
I don't
don't.
see how you could be positive about them this
Well,
week
I'm
against
trying.
Detroit.
I'm trying. We're gonna try. Maybe Dwayne will say something positive about the Cincinnati Bengals here coming up. But we're gonna talk with him again. His article is live at fantasylife.com. If there's one thing to read this week from Fantasy Life, besides the waiver wire article and everything else that we have over there, I suggest you read all of it. But the utilization report is there. So week 5 is already broken down. We're gonna talk with him about a ton of different players. Xavier Worthy, James Cook looks really good. Chris Godwin and our expectations. We're gonna do that here coming up next. You guys already know what time it is. You hear the music, you know the one and only Dwayne McFarland is here with us breaking down the utilization report live at fantasylife.com, and have to remind everyone 100% free. So no reason to not go and check it out. Make sure you're giving Dwayne a follow at Dwayne McFarland over there on X as well. Dwayne, welcome in. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent, Kendall, because I'm getting to hang out with you and Ronis and then backstage with Ani talking about how he loves living in other people's like misery,
Yeah.
specifically New York sports. Sorry, Ani, just throw it out there. Ani's probably already made all this known
Oh
on the
yeah,
show,
they
so I'm
they
probably
know.
not spoiling anything. So
Yeah.
yeah, excited to be here, Kendall.
It's a great day. I mean, not a great day of injuries, but we
No.
just I don't know. I mean, Dwayne, we just have to continue on. I'm just from that game. I know that this like, and then we'll get into all the utilization. But is Darren Waller a thing? I mean, is that the big pickup when we are looking at the Tyreek Hill injury, or is it Washington? I mean, what do you? Or you could just say none, neither. You don't want anyone from this offense, but you think anyone really steps up with those targets up for grabs?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a chance that Malik Washington does something. I mean, he saw last night. I mean, we didn't necessarily see a larger role for him, which was a little concerning. It was actually his lowest route participation of the season.
Right, right.
Yeah, so yeah, it was really. I know, don't you love it? It was Nick Westbrook Akini who had the larger role versus what he's had before. Like Malik Washington still had the larger role of the two, but they gave most of those snaps that were going to Tyreek to Nick Westbrook Akine, which is not ideal, which goes along with the theme like of just sadness and depression that I was hearing in the segment before I joined when I was sitting here working on rest of season projections. And as I heard you and Ronis talking, I just kept like moving everyone down in projections because it was so depressing. But Darren Waller, only 36% route participation last night. Kendall, obviously, like they're just kind of working him back in. But I mean, he had a 40% targets per route run. He caught the 2 touchdown passes. They really do need some size down in the red zone if they're going to score any points. But this isn't the Dolphins offense of 2022 and 2023. This is the Dolphins offense of 2025. So I don't get that excited about Waller. I I could see him having some value. I mean, I don't think he's going to be like a league winner or anything, but I mean, I could see him working his way up to like 70% route participation. And
Okay.
I could see him being the number 2 target on the team or number 3, like Achan's number 2. One would probably be Waddle moving forward, and then maybe Waller battling Malik Washington.
2025. Can't believe, I mean, Adam, I can't believe we're saying that about Darren Waller going into week 5, but here we are. Here we are.
Yeah, it's one of those seasons so far.
Yeah.
Darren Waller or Jamar Chase the rest of the way. That's the call you guys are going to get later.
And that actually might be a debate.
Oh my gosh.
Woody Marks obviously was one of the big stories. You know, a lot of the rookie running backs came through. Woody Marks probably the biggest surprise, but we've seen his snap share increase every week. How encouraged should we be after what we saw this past week?
I think massively encouraged because the number one thing about Woody Marks, like coming out of college, was that we knew he was a prolific receiver in college. And you guys know how it goes in fantasy, especially in your PPR and half PPR leagues. What are we looking for? Running backs that can catch passes. And if they somehow then suddenly run into, volume on the ground, which Woody Marks has just done in the last 2 games, yeah, it can equal massive upside. And we saw that this last week. I mean, Marks gave you almost 28 fantasy points in week 4, but over the last 2 games, he's had 49 and 58% of the snaps. So it's really turned into this, at a minimum, a 1A, 1B kind of scenario between him and Nick Chubb. But I see him probably continuing to distance. When I wrote the utilization report yesterday morning, or whenever I wrote up Woody Marks, like the only concern I had, Ronis, was like, okay, we still have not seen like a newspaper held up with Joe Mixon's face next to it. We don't know where this man is on the planet. The coaching staff has not been forthcoming. But then later yesterday, we did get a pretty big piece of news from them, essentially saying we don't even know if he's going to be back this year. Like we really don't know about Joe Mixon, and it's not close. And so knowing that now, and kind of having that piece of information, if you guys are sitting in a league where you do have Woody Marks available on your waiver wire, and as of yesterday morning, man, he was available in 69% of Yahoo leagues. Like Ronis, I'm going aggressive to the hole on this one. We're going straight to the rim on this one. I don't know about you, but like I don't want to, if there's a young player like this that catches the ball out of the backfield and they're suddenly available, I want to go, big on Fab if I can.
No, definitely. I think I wrote him up too, Dwayne, and it's just one of those things where you have to go, especially with the buys and especially with some of these injuries coming in. You have to go and get anyone that has the kind of volume
Hey,
that he could potentially get.
I,
Yeah.
I did some analysis on it, Kendall. So I just took his last two games and said, okay, let's use his utilization score from that. And if you guys haven't heard the utilization score, it's a 0 to 100. You can find it over on fantasylife.com. But it takes the complete role of a player into account plus their talent. So when you see expected fantasy points, it's just based on their carries, their targets, where they were on the field. This actually looks at their snaps. Were they on the field? Maybe they didn't get the target. It also looks at targets, catchable targets, all sorts of stuff that we know really drive fantasy points. Like I've tested all these things. If we just take the last two games and we look at his utilization score, which is a 70 out of 100, and you go back to 2020, so 5 years of data, Kendall, 49% of the players that comped similarly to Woody Marks were top 24 running backs.
Wow.
22% went on to be top 12. And so that's pretty good. Like, I mean, the other 29% were running back threes. So I think there's a real good chance you've got a running back two, which is what I upgraded him to as low end running back two. Man, we see another week where he leads in snaps and gets more targets. We'll move him higher.
Dwayne, so you're saying there's a chance.
Crunch
we always like
to
like to hear that. Yeah, that's why we have you crunching the numbers to tell us stuff like that and spend all our money on someone like Woody Marks. I love it. Again, article is live, fantasylife.com for anyone that wants to go and check it out. The utilization report. Chris Godwin was back, and Chris Godwin, I'm curious for you, what kind of role did you see Chris Godwin have when he returned this week? And we've got a lot of questions about expectations when this trio, Emeka Egbuka, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, are all healthy and on the field at the same time, what that split could look like between them. But Chris Godwin this week, he didn't look bad.
Yeah, I mean, short term, like this is really good, for Godwin and Egbuka, because we probably won't have Mike Evans again this week. We don't know for sure, but the way it sounded last week's probably got another couple of weeks. But Godwin had a really good role, Kendall. I mean, he only had 5.6 fantasy points. So people are going to see that and think, oh man, like he must have been terrible, but he wasn't. Number one, he had a 91% route participation rate, which is really good. So it kind of feels like what the Bucs did with him was, we're not going to ramp him up in games. We're actually going to get him back to full speed ahead of playing games, and then we're going to bring him back. And then he had a 26% target share. He had 10 targets on the day, which tied Emeka Egbuka for the team lead. So, yeah, I mean, I think if you're looking at Chris Godwin, like the only way to take that is positive. Does he probably have a little bit of rust to still knock off? Sure. But I would think Chris Godwin without Mike Evans, I mean, I think he's going to be a wide receiver 3 this week in the ranks, Kendall. I'm guessing you'll probably have him somewhere around there. And then once we get Evans back, though, I think it's going to be one of those scenarios, kind of like the Chargers right now. Lad McConkey's the odd man out. He won't be all season, but right now he is. And I don't think we'll be able to know who's going to be the odd man out. And the reason why is because we just don't have offenses that throw for 300 yards per game anymore. Like, I mean, like if you can get to 250, like you are absolutely cooking in the year 2025 with the way defenses play, and Baker's passing yards per game are down right now. Now, obviously 3 healthy receivers probably helps that. Maybe we get Baker closer to 250, but it'll be a situation where you're going to want to play all 3 players, but you could be the odd one out in any given week.
You mentioned Godwin being thrown into the fire right away. It's been the opposite with Stefon Diggs. It's been a slow ramp up, and we saw his best game this past week. Is it time now that this is ready for Diggs to take off in this offense?
Yeah, I think we need to place a bet on it, Ronis, because of one of the things I just talked about was just how bad passing offenses are over the last 3 seasons. And the Patriots are actually a good one right now. Drake Maye is averaging the 6th most passing yards per game in the league at 247. He's got the number 1 completion rate at 74%. He's got the 6th highest yards per attempt, 8.0. He's 8th in passing touchdowns per game at 1.75, and they have no one. And now Stefon Diggs is getting healthy. So, I mean, normally would we be that excited about a player of Stefon Diggs' age coming off of an ACL? Probably not, but he literally has nothing standing in his way, right? We like Hunter Henry. He's going to catch some touchdowns, but Hunter Henry, man, he's like a 19, 20% target share guy at best. There's a lot left here on the table. I mean, you got Kayshon Boutte as the next option with a 13% target share. That's just gross, man. So yeah, like when you look at Stefon Diggs, like, would it surprise us? Like if he's a solid wide receiver 2 the rest of the way, it wouldn't me. 82% route participation this last week. Still like to see that number closer to 90. But man, he's really the only guy they've got that's shown that can really earn targets at a high level. And so, yeah, I upgraded Stefon Diggs to wide receiver 3 territory, but man, could be a wide receiver 2 soon.
All right, talking again with Dwayne McFarland at Dwayne McFarland over there on X. Last one before we let you go, unless you just want to stay the whole show, but I'm sure you have work and things to do. It's totally fine. Just Xavier Worthy. He was one that we got questions on a lot last week coming into this week. Seemed like he was the focal point in week 4 for Patrick Mahomes. They just wanted to get their offense going, and they were able to do that. Kind of the same question, what kind of role did you see him in? And then same question that I just asked just a couple minutes ago, but when Rashee Rice returns, what do you expect this offense to look like too?
Yeah, 71% route participation rate this weekend. So still not like the 90% we want. Chiefs were clearly limiting him. He only played 59% of the snaps, but that's fine. Do we really need Xavier Worthy out there blocking people with the shoulder messed up? Probably not. Like, you'll take that. He was out there for 70% of the pass plays, which is the most important thing. I think you'll see that number ramp up, though, Kendall, 80, 90% over the next couple of games, assuming like the health continues to hold up. But the big thing is, like, despite not playing that much, 24% target share. So a 27% targets per route run. He was getting the stuff down the field. 57% of the team's air yards. He had a quarter of their targets in the end zone. So just really moving all over the formation and motion 15% of the time at the snap, which is a cheat code. 29% of his slots came from reps came from the slot. So just moving him around. He had an RPO target. He had a screen target. So it was actually his play in the RPO was on a run on an end around. So he had 38 rushing yards on 2 attempts in this game. So yeah, I mean, like, the Chiefs, sad to say, kind of like the Patriots, they have nothing. Travis Kelce's a ghost. I mean, dude's got like a 15% target share, just hanging out, with Taylor apparently. And then so much for the wedding fit vibes, right? And that whole narrative, because that's all trash. And then you look at
the
like
distraction. You got to keep that in mind for future players.
That's right. It's we're going to add it to the utilization report,
yes,
Ronis.
Put that in, Dwayne. Come on.
Tyquan Thornton, his role went down. I mean, we've got Juju Smith-Schuster. So yeah, it's wheels up for Worthy until we get Rashee Rice back. We'll reassess then. But Kendall, I just have a feeling it's just going to be about these two dudes. These are your 2 best players.
Yeah.
These are your two young, good receivers you invested in. You got freaking Patrick Mahomes. They're throwing the ball all the time. The Chiefs are one of the most pass heavy teams. Again, we got away from that crap last year where we thought we really needed to hand Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem freaking Hunt the ball. Like, if you're going to suck with bad players, just at least go down with the ball in Patrick Mahomes' hands, right? Instead of those guys. So yeah, I think looking at them, a 7% drop back rate over expected, and then you have those 2 weapons back. I think that's good for Mahomes, and I think it's good for those 2 players.
Dwayne, well, we appreciate you so much every single week coming to break this down. Utilization report live at fantasylife.com. Hey, how dare I ask how your fantasy teams are doing? Are they just
Kendall, it depends.
With
hey, Zoe drafted a team. She's in a 6-team league. So she drafted Lamar. Well, her first pick was Jamar Chase, like Rona said.
Perfect.
You know who her 2nd round pick was? Malik Neighbors.
No.
You know who her 3rd round pick was?
Tyreek Hill.
Lamar Jackson. No, it wasn't Tyreek Hill. She was playing the team last night that had Tyreek Hill. She lost by 0.5 points, Ronis. So Tyreek Hill was in the game long enough.
It's going to be a quick exit from fantasy first. You're like, yeah, this is not fun.
She also drafted Brock Bowers. So I told her, I said, I'm going to do an article this week, Zoe, just about all the players that you drafted. So the beauty is it's a 6-teamer. So there's everyone's on the waiver wire. Like, she picked up Rome Odunze last week. She grabbed Javonte Williams. So yeah, we'll see if we can make it through. We've got a name to defend at this household, because she already told everyone she's winning, Ronis. So we'll see.
She's probably looking at you like, why did you do this? Now she has she's in agony every week. She's like, my team stinks. All my players are getting hurt.
Kendall. Because this isn't even fun.
Zoe. I'm so sorry.
A lot of us are going through that right now.
We're saying the same thing. Don't worry. Oh my gosh, Dwayne. Well, keep her involved. Maybe we need to talk to her here on the show. But we appreciate you, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right. See you guys.
Oh my gosh. Hilarious. At Dwayne McFarland over there on X, we're going to go through waiver wire names to know. We got a long list here, Adam, to get through. So we're going to do that coming up next. Oh, what a song. Look at that, Adam. You get it? You know, Woody?
Yes.
Yeah. Toy Story. I don't think you've seen Toy Story.
No, I have not.
Oh my gosh. It's so good.
Is it?
You should watch it. All 3 are really good. You don't usually get a movie series or whatever that in 3 movies that it's really good, but it really is. You should watch it. You won't.
I
Come
might.
on.
I might for
You
you.
won't. When? Tell me
Definitely
when.
not anytime soon.
Like 10
Between
years from now, you'll
between
say, "Hey."
football basically every
Oh my
day, baseball
gosh, it's
playoffs,
such a good
NBA's about to
movie.
start. Yeah, there's minimal. I guess I do have time for movies at like 1 a.m.
Perfect. Well, if you're just awake and you have nothing to do, I would throw on Toy Story.
Okay.
It's a great movie, and you will love it. But speaking of waiver wire names to know, that's a good bit, by the way. Shout out to our producers; they just rock. But Woody is definitely Woody Marks, by the way, not Woody from Toy Story. Woody Marks, only 30% rostered right now, and we were just talking about it with Dwayne McFarland. We're going through waiver wire names to know for Week 5. But he's probably the guy that you want to go and get this week if you can, because of what we've seen. We talked about him last week because his utilization kept getting better, and it just continued going into Week 4. So his role has continued to expand, improved to 58% snap share, and he gave you 27.9 fantasy points going up against the Titans. I don't think we necessarily can expect 27, 25 plus every single week from Woody Marks, but he was a really good receiver in college. That's one thing. And so when you look at this and just what the overall offense needs to do to win, I think Woody Marks is going to be a big part of it. Nick Chubb was just 13 for 47 with 2 catches for 15 yards. So yeah, Woody Marks looks really good, and the backfield takeover continues. And I think we fully saw it change over in Week 4.
Yeah, and a lot of deeper leagues, he is definitely rostered. I'm
Yeah.
almost certain in all my leagues he is rostered, but I understand people play in more shallow formats. So yeah, clearly he is the number one option of the week. I am fortunate to have him in a couple leagues where I
Very nice.
absolutely need him badly. Again, this week is going to be really challenging. If you haven't looked ahead to your lineups yet, get ready to be putting in some players that you do not want to start this week. Again,
Wait till after the show.
for real, like there's
I
4
know.
teams
Oh,
on
I
bye,
know.
and then the injuries that just occurred. There could have been a team that had Neighbors and Tyreek Hill on it.
Oh, there's
They're
probably
the
a lot of, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean yeah, I mean absolutely. There's probably a lot of teams that are just, I mean, James Conner on some of them, like it's bad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's
of
bad.
course, if Woody Marks is out there, yeah, you're going to spend a lot of money to get him, because
Yeah.
it's rare to kind of get this opportunity, a running back in this type of role. Now, it was against Tennessee, and we've seen how bad the offensive line is, but he should be catching a lot of passes, and Nick Chubb just not what he was.
No, absolutely not. I was just looking through some of my lineups. You're right. It's just absolutely gross. I was trying to have a good day, Adam. I was going to do it later, but now I look to see where some of my teams are at, and yeah, that's why we go to the waiver wire. Again, my article is 100% free, so you guys can go and check that out. FantasyLife.com. I think the other one, and the more obvious one, I think is going to be Jaxson Dart, but it's worth talking about him just in case, because again, 4 teams on a bye this week. You're going to continue to hear us say that, but it is the Steelers, the Falcons, the Bears, and the Packers. So Jaxson Dart only 23% rostered, like you said, Adam. If you're in a deeper format, especially Superflex, he's probably already gone. But you have to be really happy with what you saw and with him. I mean, 111 yards, connected with Theo Johnson on that touchdown, but he added stuff on the ground. Like he has this rushing upside that we talked about, where it's very hard to find quarterbacks like that off the waiver wire. And so you get Jaxson Dart coming in, finished the day with 10 carries for 54 yards and a score on the ground. So I really like what I've seen from him. It's not always going to be smooth sailing. We just have to know that. This week, though, they are going up against the Saints. So again, he had 19.8 fantasy points, despite really only throwing for 111 yards. So I think he's a mid-range QB2. Again, this week especially, there's tougher games ahead. They play the Eagles twice, all this stuff. But for someone that could potentially be a rushing cheat code, you want to go and get him.
Yeah, I think I don't feel as good about him now with Malik Neighbors out. I think that really hurts him, and he is going to run, so he's got that high floor. And then, you mentioned the matchup this week against the Saints, which is great, but then it's a short week. It's a Thursday night game against Philadelphia. So, and then Denver, and then Philly again. So it could be a rough patch here. This week, definitely against the Saints. And again, you like to see that he's running, but
Yeah.
they're going to try and run the football a lot. And they were able to do it against the Chargers at home. It's not going to be that game script every single week. So I would have felt a lot better about him with Malik Neighbors. I did pick him up in a league last week, but I don't know how much I'm going to use him.
Well, you don't like Darius Slayton over there? Wandale Robinson?
I mean,
They can't. No, I'm kidding.
They're going to be pickups if they're
Yeah, they
available. I
are.
mean, Slayton, we've seen him perform before, and he's going to step into a big role, and he might be out there even in the deeper format. So
I think so too.
yeah, I do think he is someone that is. I think he's going to go for some money in the deeper formats.
Might
When
be
you
me.
talk about limited options, I think he's going to go for some money this week.
If you see me spending all my money on Darius Slayton this week, no, you didn't. Don't screenshot or anything. You didn't see it at all. We've got more names though that I want to make sure we go through deeper names, deeper formats that these guys are probably available, worth definitely taking a shot on. So we're going to give you those names here coming up next. Adam, I have to issue an apology. There are not 3 Toy Story movies, but 4. Producer Ani told us that, and I also see some messages on Twitter. So this is my public apology. Shout out to Chris. He said there are 4 Toy Story movies, and the 4th is great too. So now you've got 4 movies that you have to go and watch.
Well, you have to catch up too.
Well, yeah, I guess. I think I was getting it confused. Oh, what's that other one? What's the other one? No, Nemo? No, Nemo. Maybe. I don't know. There's just so many good movies. Have you seen Nemo?
No.
What?
What do you mean?
Adam,
What?
what are you talking about? These are classics.
I didn't
This
see
is
it.
crazy. Oh my gosh, Toy Story 5 coming out in 2026. Wow, you've got to get it together.
All
You've got
right.
a lot of movies to watch. All right, 4 Toy Story movies, but Woody Marks, not Woody from Toy Story, is the one to go and get off the waiver wire. I don't know how we do this day in and day out. Some more names though to know, and I just want to throw out Kenneth Gainwell, Adam. I don't think he's a priority only because the Steelers are on a bye this week. So if you actually need help and need fantasy points, fantasy production this week, he is not going to be the one to do it for you. But with Jaylen Warren out for that game, in that international game, he had a 77% snap share, handled 73% of the rushing attempts, 27% target share. And he came through for you in the biggest way possible if you were able to make that change before the game started. So I did just want to mention his name because you know that he is the obvious RB2 in this offense.
Yeah, the other thing is we don't know if Jaylen Warren's going to miss more time, but you figure that Gainwell will still be involved in the offense. It looked like it was going to be mostly Jaylen Warren, but after what they saw with Gainwell, and coaches always like Gainwell, maybe they do get him more involved. But yes, at least for this week, though, he's not going to be able to help you out. I'm assuming a lot of people, too, might have picked them up. For those that were awake on Sunday morning and saw the news, they might have grabbed them and put them into their lineup.
I saw that he was still only just a small amount rostered. So I just wanted to throw him out there in case he is out there for you. Because he looked good in that game. So it's one of those things where you just have to, he's available in over 95% of leagues. I know it's not every league, but still. I know.
Wow.
ESPN.
Oh, yeah, that's why.
Well, okay. I'll look at Yahoo in a little bit.
It's probably not a little bit higher.
All right, Kendre Miller, another one that I wanted to mention. Running back for the Saints, only 5% rostered right now. I mentioned this in tandem with Alvin Kamara because we are starting to hear some of those rumors that maybe at the trade deadline that he is going to be moved. But you have to be happy with what you've seen from Kendre Miller anyway. He has really improved his role over the last 3 games specifically. Attempt share in each game is 19%, 28%, 33%. And this offense isn't phenomenal. It's not great. So if they continue losing, maybe they scale back on Kamara. But I think obviously Kendre Miller is the clear-cut RB2. So when you have someone in that role, just in case, we never want injuries. And the trade deadline is the very first week of November. So maybe things happen there. But I think in deep formats, he's a good stash, a good handcuff to have.
For sure, because again, there is the possibility that if Kamara doesn't get traded, maybe they shut him down late in the year like they did last year. And Miller definitely looked really good this week. So they've also been playing competitive for the most part against the Bills. They kept that game close, and they are running a fast-paced offense where they're running a high amount of plays. So, yeah, you're probably not starting him yet. I actually might be in a league where I'm desperate with this week because of the buys. Yeah, I told you there's some leagues this week.
Oh, no.
It's going to be pretty rough, but for the most part, yeah, he's a bench stash.
Isaiah Bond, wide receiver for the Browns. That's a deep name that I think is going to be available to a lot of people. Cedric Tillman's going to miss some time with that hamstring, which sucks because I didn't think that it was that bad in the initial reports. But Isaiah Bond is going to be able to come in, had 3 of 6 targets, team high 58 yards in week 4. Might not be a crazy amount of value in a wide receiver 2 on this bad offense, but still a name to know.
Yeah, deep performance, I would pick him up, but they do spread the ball out a lot.
Yeah, but just in case you said we're getting desperate this week, Adam, with some of these starts, so might as well go pick someone up that got some fantasy points last week. We're heading to the water cooler. It's time to take your questions. Make sure you call in, send us a message over there on X. Water cooler news to know coming up next. It is a great movie. This is a great segment right here, going through the fantasy life water cooler. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us on this Tuesday. You already know the drill by now, but just in case you don't, we're going through all the news and notes that you need to know heading into week 5, and we are taking your phone calls and all of the questions that we can get to. 888-963-2682 is the phone number to call in, or you can press that new call in button on the Sirius XM app. You can send us a message over there on X as well, at Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis. If you have more Disney or Pixar, whatever movies that Adam can add to his list, you go ahead and send those. Or if you have fantasy football questions, we're here for either. But as always, fantasylife.com, that's where you can go and subscribe to our newsletter. It is 100% free in your inbox 7 days a week, where you will get this news in the morning and be way ahead of all your league mates. And then all of our articles are also 100% free. If you have been thinking about getting a tier 1 or tier 2 Fantasy Life Plus subscription, though, today's the day. Take this as your sign. Use the code SXM20. Gets you 20% off either of those subscriptions, because we've got the best listeners, Adam, and I'm biased, but they are the best. So SXM20 gets you 20% off there. We'll start looking through some of your questions that you have for week 5. We'll start taking your phone calls here in a little bit, but we were talking about it in the break, Adam. There are some injuries that we're just waiting to hear information on. One of them being Bucky Irving. I saw that Rick Stroud, I think this was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday afternoon. Asked when asked if Bucky Irving was among the injured players that Todd Bowles was concerned about, the quote said, "Yeah, he's one of them." Still have no update on this. So it's a wait and see situation. We're waiting to see, though, on Bucky Irving. We're waiting to see on Lamar Jackson and his hamstring injury, because he went out in the 3rd quarter of that game, wasn't able to go back. And those are two obvious, I mean, every single player we're just waiting on, but those are 2 really big ones that have huge fantasy impacts. And I know that you're looking at some of your teams and saying, oh no, but we'll just have to wait and see for those guys.
Yeah, with Bucky Irving, so I mean, I saw some video where it looked like that's where he injured apparently his ankle, but he did finish the game and played well. But we know sometimes that can happen, and then later that night, the next day, swelling, and it gets worse. So
Yeah.
I've always said there are going to be players that show up to the facility Tuesday and Wednesday that we had no idea were injured during the games, and then they are. So that is a big one worth watching, because then Rashad White would be someone that gets a massive upgrade, and you probably see Sean Tucker involved in the mix too. So yeah, that's a massive one that we're waiting for with Bucky Irving, because yeah, it's been kind of quiet on him, but he did go for an MRI. So they said too that anytime you go for an MRI, there's concern that you could miss some time. So they have a lot of players banged up, and then let's not forget San Francisco, which plays Thursday. They might have no one.
Yeah.
And Ricky Pearsall, it sounds like they said it's a MCL. So how's he playing on a short week?
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, so the last I saw when I was scrolling through was that obviously Pearsall was a DNP on Mondays, as that's an estimated injury report for those Mondays. Same with Juwan Jennings, DNP as well. That's a shoulder ankle for Juwan, and he got, I mean, that hit he took at the one or whatever end zone or whatever it was. I mean, that looked like it hurt. So Ricky Pearsall's the knee. Brock Purdy, I mean, he was a DNP as well. I don't, what's the line on that game right now? I mean, how favored are the Rams?
I think it was 5.5.
Okay. Yeah. You don't know who's going to go out there.
Yeah, it's hard to see the 49ers winning that game, but let's see what the final injury report is. But I would assume a lot of those guys. It's insane. We're talking about the 49ers, and the one guy that we can count on being healthy is Christian McCaffrey. Everyone else is injured. What is going on this year?
What a sick and twisted way to, but I'm excited about it for CMC. So it's just kind of sick and twisted. And that's why we play fantasy football. Does that mean for you, I mean, this is really scraping the bottom of the barrel, but if you really are in a pinch though, Kendrick Bourne, are you picking him up? If you have, Pearsall Jennings, if we think that we're not going to get that news till later in the week, you're worried about it. Demarcus Robinson. I'm always going to say the tight end's name wrong. I think it's Tungus, right?
Tungus, I think.
Yeah, Jake Tungus. I mean, are any of those guys viable to you or not really?
Well, if you like narratives, you know what this game is. It is a revenge game for Demarcus Robinson.
Oh, there we go. All right. Pick up Demarcus Robinson everywhere. Is that what you're saying?
I didn't say that, but hey, look, in some of the that's the challenging part. That's the one thing I hate about the Thursday games is you have to make these tough decisions. Yeah. Like how many times do we have people dealing with like two quarterbacks and one plays on Thursday and the other one is injured, doesn't go till Sunday. So yeah, you're going to have to make tough decisions. But hey, like I said, I am playing in some really deep leagues where definitely have a lot of questions. Man, maybe he comes into play. If Pearsall and Jennings are out, someone's got to catch the football, right?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I mean, look at the depth chart and see who could step up. But if you're worried about it and you're a, Pearsall manager, Juwan Jennings manager, and you don't have better options throughout the week, like that is something that you have to look at. Because again, that's that Thursday night game. It's going to be interesting to say the least. And just to, I saw, oh man, where did this go? I did see an update here when we're looking at Lamar Jackson. It's not, it's an update that says really nothing, but Tom Pelissero did say this morning that Lamar Jackson with the hamstring injury is, quote, up in the air for week 5. I'm just going to say, if you've got waiver claims running today, which most of you do, maybe some tomorrow, and you have Lamar and you don't have a backup, just pick one up. It's just that time. You don't want to be sitting there with how many buys we have starting this week and how many players could be picked up because of that. You don't want to be sitting there having to make a really, really tough decision of like Cooper Rush. I don't think Cooper Rush is going to be high on our list for them this week if he does have to go. But pick someone up that you are going to be comfortable to potentially start.
Yeah, you don't want to wait, let waivers run, and some other people are picking up quarterbacks. Again, 4 teams on bye, so there will be others out there looking to nab some quarterbacks off the waiver wire. So you don't want to wait, and then Friday comes, and he's ruled out, and now you're picking up what's left, and maybe it's not ideal. So just always play it as if the players are out. So this way you're prepared, and if somehow he does play, great. You put him in your lineup, and then you can maybe cut that guy to pick up someone else. But always go with the expectation that these injured guys are going to be out. So this way your roster is ready in case they do sit.
It's really gross, but I will mention Bryce Young. Don't boo me. Don't send me messages. But Bryce Young is only 18% roster right now for the Panthers for good reason, obviously. But I will say they are playing the Miami Dolphins, and Bryce Young will be at home for that game. So you can squint and tell yourself a story, Adam, that it won't be that bad if you need help.
Well, maybe. I hope you're right because he is one of my quarterbacks in a super flex league. Where I lost Joe Burrow. I have no choice. What do you want me to do?
I know, but didn't you have to play him last week with, it wasn't Jackson Darby. You had pretty good starts.
No, Mariota.
Yeah. Oh, that was 2 weeks ago though.
I was able to win. I just don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to win the rest of the year with Bryce Young, Mariota, and Carson Wentz.
Who are you waiting for to come back? Or
no one. I had Burrow.
Oh, yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, there's no hope there for him coming back this year. I don't think so personally. If they keep losing the way that they're losing, there's just no shot. But
not coming back.
Lots of injuries. Just pay attention. We're going to continue talking about them throughout the water coolers throughout the week, and of course, during the show. But again, make sure you're giving us a follow at Valenzuela17 at Adam Ronis over there. We're going to start taking your questions. I see a lot of trade questions coming in here, Adam. So we'll make sure to get to those and your phone calls as well. Want to keep going here with the news. Just here to say that it looks like Stefanski was talking about Joe Flacco being their QB1. His quote coming back was, "I understand the question, but that's not our focus right now." So it feels like this is going to be another week where we do see the Browns put Joe Flacco out there. But I am just here to say, I don't think many people are starting him, but we're probably getting close to them making a change at the quarterback position to one of their rookies. The Browns are sitting at 1-3 right now. And so this game this weekend is the international game, 6:30 again. So I feel they wouldn't want to put any rookie in that situation going up against the Minnesota Vikings, but then they take on the Steelers, they take on the Dolphins, and they take on the Patriots. So just something to watch out for. We don't love this offense in general, but if you've been sitting with Joe Flacco for whatever reason, yeah,
he's been bad. I mean, 2
Awful.
touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He's been held to under 200 passing yards in 3 straight games. Now he has faced, Detroit, Green Bay, Baltimore, although Baltimore's defense looks pretty bad, and he couldn't get to 200 yards in that game. So, yeah, it's been pretty bad, and it gets to a point where maybe you just see what the other quarterbacks have. We've talked about Flacco and, it's going to help our other guys. Problem is they are really spreading the ball out. I mean, it is Quinshon Judkins' offense right now. That's the one guy that you feel confident starting. I mean, Jerry Jeudy, the tight ends with Njoku and Fannin haven't been good. Tillman, we mentioned, now he's hurt. So it hasn't been good for the rest of that team, and they are sitting at 1-3. So it's probably going to happen at some point.
Yeah, and Quinshon Judkins has looked, I mean, again, I'm surprised, but you're happy if you were able to take him. I mean, he thrived that was an ugly game script too. That was the other thing I was worried about for week 4, Adam, where you look at that and you say, this might not be good because they're going to be down by a lot and the game script just isn't going to be in his favor. But even despite the lack of pass down work, he was able to get you fantasy points. So I think he upgrades. I did this last week, but he is that mid-range RB2, and it feels like he's going to be that or better the rest of the way.
Yeah, they just came out immediately and have just given him massive workloads where he's not even participated in training camp. So I guess credit to him for staying in great shape. And he was more involved in the passing game this week. So it was a good sign. 4 targets, caught all 4 for 33 yards. So he's had tough matchups here to start, especially the last 2 weeks with Green Bay and Detroit, and has still found a way to get it done. 25 touches this past week, 19 the week before. So there are a lot of people who got him in the double-digit rounds at a point where we didn't know when he was going to return, would he get suspended, and yeah, if you got him, that's an absolute steal right now. You're feeling really good.
79 utilization score. He's the RB11 in fantasy over the last 2 games with 19 points per game. It's looking good over there. So you're happy with it. Again, you're just really happy with it. Just to finish off some of the news, and then we're going to take these phone calls here. Looks like Taysom Hill, Foster Moreau are returning to practice for the Saints. Adam, if we have to talk about Taysom Hill taken away from Juwan Jennings, which feels like that might have to happen here, I'm just going to be shaking my head. And then Joe Mixon remains out. The Texans are not opening that practice window. It feels like, Dwayne said this, but it feels like we might not see him the rest of the season.
I mean, I felt that way in August. I mean, you never heard anything positive. Something is going on there. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I wouldn't expect him to be here the rest of the season. I saw people were drafting him still like 8th, 9th round. And I was just like, okay, good luck with that. And clearly it looks like it's not going to pan out.
Yeah. If you're holding on to him and for whatever reason he's not in an IR spot, please drop him. Well, we don't need to do this, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't roster him. I would have never drafted him to begin with, but
okay. If people did, we know you wouldn't, but just in case people did, you don't need to be hanging on to him much longer because it just doesn't. The vibes don't feel good over there. So again, fantasylife.com. That's where you can check out the water cooler in our newsletter, 100% free, and make sure you're using that code SXM20. Gets you 20% off any tier 1 or tier 2 Fantasy Life Plus subscription. Ready for the phone lines? You want to head out there?
Yes, let's hope that it's not as depressing as these injuries.
I mean, the whole show is we got to pick up the good vibes here because the whole show has just been kind of down today. So 888-963-2682 is the phone number to call in. Let's start off with Bill in Sarasota. Bill, what do you got for us?
Hi guys, I have Fields and Dak Prescott in a very weak running back room. I have an offer to pick. Somebody wants Dak, and they have Quinshawn Judkins, Scottaboo, and Hubbard sitting there. Which one of those three would you take? I think I would take Judkins, but
Yes.
which one of those three would you take?
Yeah, I would take Judkins, and I would definitely do it if it's available. I am a little surprised that you can do this. It is very difficult to trade for running backs, especially a quarterback. But I guess that team is really hurting at quarterback, and there's not much on the waivers. So yeah, I would make the deal if it's on the table.
You think he can get any more from that with Dak having that?
He's hurting that quarterback.
Yeah. Or do you think that's a good one for one, Adam? You think he can get anything else out of that? Okay.
That's fair.
Dak had a big game. So I like it. Yeah, Bill, I would do that for sure. I've been trying in all my leagues, Adam. It just hasn't. I've been trying to trade for a running back.
I play in a lot of leagues where you can't trade. And then even the leagues that I can trade, I hardly even look to send offers. I think it's just it's so difficult to trade in fantasy.
Sure.
I mean, I get all these questions all the time with trades, but in my leagues that I play in, there's hardly any trades.
Yeah, I don't usually a lot don't get done in mine, but I'm really out here trying.
No, there's no way.
So bad.
There's no way in my league that trade would happen. No one would do that.
No. But that's why we're telling Bill. Bill's listening to us, and he's going to definitely take that. And you just take it and you don't look back, Bill. Don't let him say anything else to you. But you definitely are trading for Quinshawn Judkins. Let's continue here. Let's go out to Gary in California. Oh, shout out Gary. What do you got for us here?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I have a standard PPR league, and I have a start-sit question.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got Woody Marks. I didn't start him last weekend, but I want to start him this weekend. I've got Travion Henderson starting. Should I swap those two?
I understand the question because Travion, again, Adam, what are we doing? You have fumbles all last week with your two main running backs for the New England Patriots. And all of a sudden we're saying, okay, maybe this is the time that things can switch up. And if it didn't happen this past week, it feels like it's going to be not a long shot, but it feels like it's going to be very hard for us to see it happen this year. But Travion Henderson is a three-way committee that continued in week 4. So I think he's a low-end RB3. So I think you could make this switch, don't you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, again, I haven't really looked ahead to rankings for the week yet because I still got to get through the waiver wire. But my initial inclination is to go with Woody Marks.
The Texans are on the road against the Ravens. And
who have been really bad against the run. This is not the Ravens defense from years past where we were fearful of them. And they have so many injuries right now on the defensive side of the football. It is insane when you go look at all the guys that are hurt for the Ravens right now on defense.
And then the Patriots are on the road. That's the Sunday night game against the Bills. So, yeah, I would. It's early, Gary, so make sure to keep coming back and checking the rankings. But I'm going to finish mine up here this afternoon going into this evening. But it feels like, I'm going to have Woody Marks, which is crazy to say. Adam, probably ahead going into this week. Let's do one more here. Let's do Chris. Chris, what do you got for us?
Okay, I got a 10-point PR league. I got Saquon Barkley. I got Jonathan Taylor, Quinshawn Judkins, and on my bench, I got J.K. Dobbins and Tootin and Zach Charbonnet. I'm trying to pick up
Woody Marks.
Woody Marks. And I wanted to know how much fab would I spend on him and which player would I drop.
Man, those are really, first of all, I'm jealous. I feel like the one player that you would drop, though, Adam, is Tootin if you wanted to go get him.
Yeah, of those. And with the running backs you have, I don't think you need to spend a lot because I don't really see Marks getting into the lineup with this team, assuming you start 2 running backs and 1 flex.
It's a flex league. It's a flex league where there's only 1 wide receiver, 1 tight end, and 1 running back, 1 tight end, 1 wide receiver.
Okay.
So the rest of the spots.
How many spots?
I could get him in
How many spots are the flex?
3.
Okay.
So it's borderline though.
Yeah, it's still. I mean, because Barkley's going to be in, Taylor's going to be in, Judkins is going to be in. Right now, Dobbins is in. So yeah, I mean, I still wouldn't spend a ton. You can pick him up for sure. And if you're really hurting a receiver, then you can increase the price.
Yeah, and if you were going to drop someone, it would be Tootin. That would be the guy to go ahead and drop if you were trying to make that move. So I'm jealous, Adam. That's
Yeah,
all I
I
can
know.
say. I'm jealous
Yeah,
of
I'm looking at starting
Chris and
Kendre Miller and then, this week. That's how bad it
my
is for me.
gosh. I saw Ollie Gordon was started last week in place of Jalen Warren. So it's it's a brutal time to have to start any running backs going into this week. But that's why we are here to help. So continue calling in. We're going to continue taking your phone calls. And then also look over on X, over on Twitter, at KValenzuela17, at Adam Ronis over there for some of your questions. We're going to continue on. We're going to ride the fantasy wave, see if it's going to continue being an up and down ride. And then we will be talking with Paul Charchian here in a little bit as well. But we're riding the fantasy wave, what our expectations should be for Ladd McConkey, Derrick Henry, some of these big guys, Brock Bowers as well. We're going to do that here coming up next. Well, we're trying to help you win your leagues here, Adam. You might be facing an uphill battle, but that's okay because we don't give up. You go to fantasylife.com, you use all the tools that we have to offer. You go read my waiver wire article and you just sit down. Maybe close your eyes. Maybe go for a long walk on Sunday. Don't pay attention to anything. Clear your head. Don't check your fantasy scores until Tuesday morning. I think that's how you have to do it going forward.
Yeah, this is definitely a rough week with all the injuries. And again, Falcons, Bears, Packers, and Steelers all on bye. So, and the Bengals offense is on bye every week too. Mm-hmm. So you got to take that into account. But yeah, it's getting rough out there. But hey, everyone else is dealing with this too. There has to be, I'm sure there's one lucky team in every league that is not dealing with any injuries. Hopefully that is you. But it does happen from time to time. But yeah, it's a challenge, but that's what makes this fun when we win a championship.
Well, it's definitely not me. I'll tell you who it's not. In any of these situations, it's not me, but that's okay. I wanted to go through this before we talk with Paul Charchian about just riding the fantasy wave. We always have these up and down weeks, but expectations not only going into week 5, but also moving forward, since we have, we've got a lot of the data that Dwayne talks about here with 4 weeks under our belt now. So just starting with Justin Herbert and Ladd McConkey, more specifically for the Chargers, we brought up and we had good questions on Ladd McConkey coming into week 4. But it's crazy to think, Adam, that he is the wide receiver 3 on his own team going into it. So you obviously know that Quentin Johnston is going to be involved. Shout out to him for he's really turned things around. Keenan Allen is also that veteran presence that it looks like Justin Herbert is comfortable looking to. So when you're looking at Ladd McConkey, it wasn't a good week for either of them, though. Herbert had a season low 12.52 fantasy points. He only completed 56% of his passes as well. And then, Ladd McConkey caught just 1 of his 6 targets. He had 3 drops, a couple of them on third down. It didn't look good. So going forward, that's kind of where I'm going to have Ladd McConkey, is just a little bit lower in the ranks. And until we see it kind of stop falling a little bit, it's going to be Quentin Johnston ahead, and Keenan Allen's going to be right there as well.
Yeah, I don't know why everyone's complaining about McConkey. I mean, he's 55th at wide receiver in points per game in PPR. I mean, is it really that bad? Like, what were you expecting? But yeah, look, it's been a tough start for McConkey. It's 3 straight weeks now under double digits. That's not what you expected when you drafted him. Late second, early third round, and he will have some good games, but clearly the emergence of Quentin Johnston and the addition of Keenan Allen has certainly cut into the production of McConkey, who's been held under 50 receiving yards 3 straight weeks. He's been outscored by Johnston and Keenan Allen every single week so far.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many players that we can talk about right now, Adam, where you drafted them and their ADP, it's probably not going to pay off. And there's still so much time left.
There is time left. Like, this happens every year. You can go back and look at last year players that were not productive the first 4 weeks and they finished strong. Sometimes it's difficult to see right now, but it all depends too on the circumstance. Like for McConkey, it is a problem because he just has 2 other good receivers competing with targets. I mean, Keenan Allen's a veteran that's has a good rapport with Herbert, and Quentin Johnston is getting open. Like, he's just the numbers he's putting up is what you expected from McConkey. So yeah. It is going to be a challenge. Again, McConkey's going to have some weeks, but it is not going to be what you paid for. That's pretty clear at this point, unless one of those guys go down. Because right now in PPR, wide receiver, points per game, Quentin Johnston is 3rd and
That is
Keenan Allen is
insane.
9th.
Wow.
So
Wasn't on my bingo card. I'll just say that.
well, no one had Quentin Johnston this high. Even if you believed in him and you took him late, you want to pump yourself up. Okay, but no one expected this. With Keenan Allen, I guess we shouldn't be surprised, right? Veteran receiver.
Yeah.
He showed he still had something left last year, and he has at least 5 catches in every game.
How worried are we? And here's the thing: when I talk about some of these names, there's not much we can do. Unfortunately, it might just be you have to start these guys. But Derrick Henry again for another week. When we look at Derrick Henry and the Ravens again, we're waiting on news from Lamar Jackson. But for the 3rd straight game, he did not post double digit numbers. Finished with 7.8 points in that loss to the Chiefs. 8 carries in this game, rushing for 42 yards, 2 receptions for 16. I mean, he isn't carrying this offense at this point in the season. And again, we've got a long ways to go. We're only going into week 5, but we can only talk about what we've seen so far. And so far, again, talk about vibes and everything else, but so far what we've seen with Derrick Henry in this offense has not been good. He's got the number 29 utilization score. And it's just, he's rarely used on the pass downs. And that has really created like this volatility week to week with the consistency at least. So I recommended Justice Hill on the waiver wire just in case. You never know what could happen, but if you're in a deeper format and you see Justice Hill out there, he might be worth a pickup in a stash.
The problem for Henry, and this was never a problem last year because they were winning and playing from ahead, they've been playing from behind. And if they're in pass mode, Henry's off the field. So that was the biggest issue this week. They were trailing from the beginning, and Derrick Henry could never get involved in the game. So that's not what you expected with this Ravens team. So that's going to be the key. They need to get out to a lead or keep the game close to keep Henry on the field, because look at the last 3 games, 11, 12, and 8 carries. Like, that is not what we saw from Derrick Henry last year. I mean, you were expecting at least 15 carries every single week, and we're not getting that at all right now. So this week, against the Texans, at home, 3.5-point favorites. We'll see if Lamar Jackson plays, but that's an offense, the Texans, that have done nothing. Yeah, they put up some points against the Titans, but we know how bad they are. So even with some of the injuries, you just got to hope that they can keep the game competitive, and that's where they will feed Henry. But that's been the issue, especially last week, where the game script got out of hand and he's just not going to be on the field. So yeah, it's maybe this is the year that the Derrick Henry faders are finally right.
Don't say it. I think he still is holding. I'm going to put him in my ranking still as a low end RB1 because it's still Derrick Henry, and it's hard to drop him, but it's definitely, like you said, you have to depend on it's going to depend on the game script. So if they're continuing to lose like this, or at least being behind in these games, yeah, you're not going to have fun when you're looking at some of the points he's given you. One more. Let me go through one more here since we're riding the fantasy wave. Brock Bowers. Again, one that you just say you have to keep going at him, but 9.6 PPR fantasy points in week 4. 3rd straight week, he's been held beneath 10 on 6 targets. And we can talk about Geno Smith struggling as well. I recommended him hand up as someone that you could stream going up against this Bears defense. And it was just not good. I mean, he scored only 9.78 fantasy points in this one. He had 3 interceptions. I mean, he struggled on these deep throws. It was everything in between. Brock Bowers, you don't like what you're seeing, but he's still getting a good amount of targets. Maybe he's still a little bit hurt, but yeah, you're disappointed in that one for where you picked him, especially.
Yeah, I think the knee is definitely still an issue for sure. He's been playing with that brace. I think 2 weeks ago, there was a play where I thought he would have had a touchdown if he was completely healthy. Yeah. So yeah, it's just one of those things where he's playing with the injury. Sometimes you want the players to sit out. And then if they do play with the injury, it can affect their performance. And that's what we're seeing right now. Again, the floor is really high for him, but you don't want a high floor where you drafted Brock Bowers. You want domination every single week. So, you look at his PPR points, 15.3 week 1, 8.8, 8.8, 9.6. Most of the time you're going to take that at tight end, not if you took him in the 2nd round.
So very disappointing, Adam. It's fine. We gotta, better vibes right now. We gotta talk with Paul Charchian here. We have to go through the most chopped players from Guillotine leagues, go through how much we would spend going into the week on them. I'm still alive, by the way, in all my Guillotine leagues, knock on wood. So we're gonna see I'm gonna spend everything that I have though on some quarterbacks this week. I'm just gonna let you know
here we
already.
go again.
Yeah, I'm spending $250 and whoever that quarterback is, I'm sure is going to be just fine. Just kidding. Maybe not. We're going to talk with Paul Charchian, though, here coming up next. It is about that time. We get to talk with the one and only the amazing Paul Charchian here. Go through Family Feud style of the players, the most chopped players, I should say, in Guillotine leagues for week 4. Paul, welcome in. We need some good energy in here, so we're excited to have you. How you doing?
Yeah. Nothing brings good energy than talking about the 10 biggest underperformers of the week and guys who ended seasons.
It's fine. It's fine. We have fun. We have fun audio that we play with it though. So it makes it way more fun at least, or we try.
I agree. I think we do. We make the best of a difficult situation is what we do here.
Exactly.
And injuries are part of the game and it's always part of our conversation about the most chopped players. This time there's more than just injury to talk about, but there is some of that, of course, including one player that's really, really fascinating as we talk through the 10 most chopped players. Am I correct, Kendall, that it is your turn to go first in our game?
It is my turn. So
for people that maybe don't know the game, you are going to try to guess 3 of the top 10 most chopped players in Guillotine leagues. And if you fail in any of your 3, then Adam gets a one-time chance to win the game.
Yeah. I'm nervous about
you should
it.
Be.
So
you should
I
be
know
nervous.
This one does this week not feel a little bit difficult?
Yes,
Yours last week was difficult too, Adam. So I'm not going to be like Adam. I won't ask any questions.
Oh,
going
stop
into
with
it.
that.
I'm just going to go through with it. But Paul, just tell me if some of these are wrong because I know that you took out some injuries last week. But I'm going to start at least with Malik Neighbors and see if he is one of those, or if you will accept it.
That is in play. Malik Neighbors is in play, and he is the 5th most chopped player in Guillotine leagues. So that is a yes.
Kendall's getting layups.
You see what I get to do here, Adam? Though I don't talk with Paul before the segment starts.
I didn't get to use Lamb last week.
Well, yeah, but he told you that because you asked.
But you did know that. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And I'm just going out on a limb here. Like I could say, and I think I'm going to say Tyreek Hill, but if Paul says no to me, I'm not going to complain because I didn't ask him before the show. So what about Tyreek Hill? Oh,
yeah, that was a bad one on
you.
He compiled just enough stats last night to keep him off the list. Yes.
Dang it.
Tyreek Hill out. That means Adam, you have a chance to win the game. You've got 9 available answers.
You know this.
And there's a couple of stone cold obvious ones that I think you're going to get this, Adam. The 10 most chopped players. Can you give me any of the 9 remaining?
You've got this.
Yeah, I think one has to be Derrick Henry.
Yeah. Oh, I thought he was.
Yeah, I got scared for a second too. I was like, no way.
I thought he was going thumbs down.
Yes, Derrick Henry, the 6th most chopped player. And here's Derrick Henry again. This for both Derrick Henry and one other player we'll talk about in a minute. They have appeared 3 out of 4 weeks.
Can I guess that other player?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Can we do that?
AJ Brown.
Yeah.
You got it. Nicely done, Adam.
So
AJ Brown making his 3rd appearance. Well done.
Can I ask one more? Before we do it? So with the injury to James Conner, I didn't know, but was Trey Benson in the top 10 or was he not played enough?
He was not inside the top 10, and I think that's exactly why it's not enough. But I would have played him. I'm thinking to myself, oh, this is going to be Drake. He's going to get 18 carries in this game. But this week is really going to be the Trey Benson week. Much easier defense. I think Trey Benson is going to go off. My preliminary rankings, I don't have it right in front of me, but I ranked him really high. I'm going to guess he's like running back 14 or something.
I'm curious if this guy was on the list because I don't think he was a good start, but coming off the performance he did, I could see people starting him. David Montgomery.
Ooh, that's
number 2 most chopped player.
Yeah.
David Montgomery. Nicely done as we're filling in some of the blanks. What we like to do is go through the 5 most chopped players and then establish what we would bid for them. Now, here I am going to take Malik Neighbors out because obviously we're not going to be bidding on Malik Neighbors, sadly. So let's go to the 5 remaining players that were most chopped. So let's start with what is our new number 5, and he was number 6, and that's Derrick Henry. So as I mentioned, he's now been on this list 3 out of 4 weeks for Derrick Henry. He has fumbled in his first 3 games. He did not fumble, fortunately, last week. Baltimore's upcoming schedule is kind of interesting. They've got Houston coming up. They've got the Rams, and then they go bye week. So we do have a looming bye week for Derrick Henry as well. So let's begin with Adam. How much would you pay to add Derrick Henry to your Guillotine roster?
I know it sounds crazy because you figure you would spend a lot, but I'm going to say 60 only because the floor is really low if he doesn't score a touchdown. We know he's not heavily involved in the passing game. They have so many injuries. We don't know if Lamar Jackson's going to play this week. When they are trailing, he's not on the field. So, and then you add the bye to the equation. So I'm going to say $60.
It's crazy that we're saying that for Derrick Henry.
Exactly.
I was going to say 100, but even that felt a little bit high, but I'm just holding on to the hope and the fact that it is still Derrick Henry, that he can still be good. But what do you think, Paul?
Well, if you wanted to get Derrick Henry after week 1, you would have had to have paid $400 as a free agent to get him after week 1. So, by comparison, I think I'm going to buy the dip here and go about $100. Like Kendall. I still think I'd take Derrick Henry. But what we've seen is exactly the danger that Derrick Henry brings. You get 0, 1, or 2 receptions a game, and if he doesn't score a touchdown, boy, you better hope he just ran for 130 yards.
Yeah.
So there is a ton of danger with him. All right, let's go to our 4th most chopped player, Philadelphia wide receiver A.J. Brown. Kendall,
every week.
Also, the 3rd time he's appeared in our list. I just can't even.
Paul, we're not even saying his name on the show anymore. It's just the guy, the man who is not mentioned because he's just so. I'll pay $25 for AJ Brown. I just can't even. What are we doing, Adam? What would you pay? Adam won't even bid on him.
Look, we can illustrate how bad. This is insane. 27 yards or fewer in these 3 games. He hasn't even gotten to 10 yards in 2 games. It's absurd. We know he's one of the elite receivers in the NFL, but that doesn't help us advance in Guillotine League. So
no,
I'll go 40.
40.
Yeah.
I can't. It's hard to believe we're talking about this for AJ Brown. But I think that's the right ballpark. It's about $40. Get this schedule. So coming up this week, AJ Brown goes up against the Denver cornerbacks, which we don't like. Then they travel to the Giants, so that's not as hard. But then they go at Minnesota. That's turned into a tricky matchup for wide receivers as well.
Yeah.
So that's 2 of 3 tricky games for AJ Brown. The 3rd most chopped player, and a guy I'm fascinated to talk to you about, Pittsburgh running back Jaylen Warren.
Oh.
Many of the West Coasters got caught off guard, not realizing Jaylen Warren was potentially not going to play. You wake up, you find out the game started, and Jaylen Warren's not in.
Interesting.
I forgot. That's a good one. He wasn't on my list. I forgot.
I had him on my list, but I didn't know if Paul would take it because he just technically didn't play. But I don't know, Adam, because he also has a bye week this week.
Yeah.
So Adam has to go first Adam has to go first on this one. So I'm curious what you're going to say. Because he's been good.
Yeah, I think his role was growing. He's involved in a passing game, so I'll go 60.
Yeah, I was gonna say 75.
75. I'm starting to wonder who the best running back in the Pittsburgh backfield is. And is this thing going to revert into really a 50-50 timeshare? And I don't spend much money on 50-50 timeshares. Plus, you add in Jaylen Warren's bye week this week. Then he goes Cleveland after that. That's the best run defense in the NFL.
I should have looked at that.
60
yeah, I'll lower it.
right. And then 2 weeks after that, it's Green Bay. So my Jaylen Warren bid would be about $20.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
you talked me into that, Paul. You're right. I didn't look to the Cleveland game.
That's okay.
Paul, for time, can we combine these last 2 and break them down?
No problem.
Perfect.
Our final 2 most chopped players, Detroit running back David Montgomery went berserk 2 weeks ago, did nothing last week. And then Baltimore quarterback Lamar Jackson as the most chopped player. He played most of that game as well. And at the game, it just didn't come together for him before he ended up leaving with a knee injury. So what would you put on David Montgomery and Lamar Jackson?
Gosh, David Montgomery's still good though, Adam.
Yeah, but it's still Gibbs's backfield right now.
62. I'd do $62 on David Montgomery. Lamar Jackson, I'm concerned because we don't even know if he's playing, Paul. Do you take a chance on him? So I would do 62 and maybe 45, just knowing I'm not going to get Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson would come down to the wire because, that line has moved in the direction as if he's going to sit. So I'd go 40 on Lamar. And with Montgomery, 50. I just think he's so touchdown dependent, not involved in the passing game. And he's only getting 12 carries is the most. So they've really gone in the direction of Gibbs. So I wouldn't feel good about Montgomery. And if it was a tough matchup against Cleveland, I wouldn't have started him.
Yeah, I'm lower on Montgomery, and I love that guy. I mean, what a great player. But you have to pick your spots and know when to start him. On the Chop podcast last Thursday, we advised you to bench David Montgomery coming off of his big game that he had previously had against Baltimore. So we're going to peacock that for a bit. I'd put about $25 on David Montgomery. Lamar Jackson might be a guy that you could kind of stash, but I'll note this. Houston is the next game. That's a good pass defense. Rams, a good pass defense. And then bye week for Baltimore.
Interesting.
Tricky spots for Lamar Jackson.
That was a good one, Paul. There were a lot of question marks up in the air, but we appreciate you hopping on, and we get to do this. We get to do this again next week. So we appreciate you.
Looking forward to it. And maybe next week we'll be talking about Ladd McConkey, the next player up that we didn't chat about. What a disaster that has been.
So we've been talking about him. It's so bad. It's so bad. So I'm sure we're going to get surprised again next week, Paul. But if anyone hasn't already, make sure you go follow Paul Charchian at Paul Charchian over there on X. Check out the Chopped podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And we can't wait to talk with you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
All right, there he goes, Paul Charchian. We're going to continue on here, Adam, and continue looking at just some players, maybe some targets and some trades as well. I've seen a lot of actually trade questions come in our way. So we're going to break those down here coming up next. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us on this Tuesday. We are trying to uplift everyone, Adam. Make sure that they know that everything's going to be okay. Over under on when your balcony's done. We could get them involved in that. Over under
2030.
It's been crazy. If people don't know the story, it's been nuts with Adam and this. You have been able to use your balcony since, was it October of last year?
Almost a year, because tomorrow's October 1st, so a year. Yeah.
That's insane.
It is insane.
I would go crazy there. An update here, though, that I want to make sure that we just talk about here. I saw from Ian Rappaport in the break. He did tweet that the 49ers general manager, that's John Lynch, told the news outlet that Brock Purdy and Ricky Pearsall will both be questionable for the Thursday night football Rams game. So the quote was, "We will take every precaution to make sure Brock's all right. I think he is. Now can he turn it around on a short week?" So it was kind of like a question back to us. I don't know, Adam, if he can turn it around on a short week. If he can't, Mac Jones was listed as a full participant for Monday's practice estimate. So that's at least good news, because I was worried about him with the PCL sprain that he suffered week 3, but they can turn back to him. This just stinks, though. If you have Brock Purdy, you just need to be careful with it, and you need to either go and get his backup, which is Mac Jones, and for Ricky Pearsall, it's not sounding great.
Yeah, I would be stunned if Pearsall plays this week. I mean, on a short week, Purdy more up in the air, but yeah, they have so many injuries right now on a short week in a division rival against the Rams. So yeah, we could be looking at DeMarcus Robinson, Kendrick Bourne, because again, Jawan Jennings, there was no update on him, right?
No, they didn't say anything about him. Yeah, and I'm looking right now, and I don't see anything on Jawan Jennings. But you said it's short week. I mean, it's really tough to have that kind of turnaround. So head to the waiver wire. I don't know, Adam. That's all we can say. I mean, it's just going to be a crazy week, but you can still pick up really good guys. There are some that we talked about earlier. Like, I think again, I think Darius Slayton too. I don't know if we mentioned him before.
We did.
It's not going to be beautiful. It's not going to be pretty. I'll say Wan'Dale Robinson, but I know he's more than 50% rostered across the board. So he's probably, if you're listening, not going to be available to you. But if he is obviously ahead of Darius Slayton. So Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton, they're not going to be Malik Neighbors, but they're at least going to get some of the extra targets that are vacated now because he's going to be out for the season.
Yeah, I think he's a good pickup in deeper leagues. People are going to spend money on him. Again, in some of these deeper formats where a lot of the players we mentioned aren't available, Slayton's going to go for some money because he's working his way into an opportunity. And we've seen him put up solid numbers before. Again, not an explosive offense. You're not going to get these massive games, but enough to give you a solid floor, especially with Malik Neighbors out for the year and the injuries and bye weeks ahead. So, he had 3 for 44 this past week, but I think there'll be weeks where he can get to double-digit points in PPR.
Luke McCaffrey, Jalen Lane, any interest there?
I wanted to see McCaffrey play more snaps.
I know, I did too.
Yeah, because he scored a touchdown in 2 straight games.
He did, but it's the all the underlying utilization isn't necessarily there. But Terry McLaurin, you should probably expect him to be out again too, right?
Yeah, I picked up McCaffrey in 2 deep leagues last week. I didn't start him, but again, it might get to the point where I need to. You'd feel better too if Jaden Daniels returns, and it looks like he will. But you do want to see him on the field a little bit more.
Xavier Scott, by the way, you think that role holds with the Vikings? So with Aaron Jones out, Scott has taken over like the pass down role for the Vikings. Week 4, he had 18% target share, 43% route participation. I don't know if this holds, but still a name to know.
Yeah, Cleveland this week, so maybe they do need to pass more. Not much on the ground, but yeah, I'd add him in deeper leagues, but I don't think we can start him.
All right, go check out that waiver wire article at fantasylife.com. That is where my article is. It is 100% free. Really, really good names for every single league that you might be in. We appreciate everyone hanging out with us here today. Enjoy your Tuesday. We'll be back here same time tomorrow. We'll see you then.